And we are live. What's good, folks? Josh Engleman here, MLB Strategy Show, 10 a.m. Eastern Time today. Move stuff around because we have Friday football. That one's new for us. 11-game slate, and it's just better than what we've had lately. We don't have these random cores games that are fully broken. The top stack odds are ultra balanced. Pitching's kind of fun. Like, we've got a good day ahead of us here. We haven't for a while, but we do today. So I'm excited to break this one down. Hit the like button as you get in the door. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman. Subscribe to the channel. All that good stuff. Yeah, cooler weather on this slate, Keith Vape. I agree. Probably what's causing a little bit of problems in my home run model. Feel like I have a lot of value there, but we hit a couple good spots earlier today. You can get those home run plays that I put in if you subscribe to my marketplace on Odds Shopper. But yeah, we're going to break this bad boy down. We're going to look at all the best stacks that we can find. We're going to take a look at all of the pitching. I assume my sim is finished. It is. Let's hit the second half of that bad boy. And then we can take a look at what I actually have. But in terms of top stacks, I'm just going to dive right into it because I think we have a lot to talk about. And we do have an NFL show coming up after this at 11 a.m. Later, Eddie. Nice to see you. Anyway, let's look at the number one team in my top stack odds. We'll see if that is in agreement with Stochastic. And that is well, it's not. Did I paste this in wrong? Nah, I couldn't have. Do the White Sox not have a starter name? No, it is Davis Martin. I bet him. Let me take a peek at this quickly. We might have a flip-flopped line. Yeah, I think we have the Red Sox and White Sox line. Or I have the wrong line. What's the line on this Red Sox game? Because I have the Red Sox as the number one stack, but I also have them with a 5.6 run implied total. Am I wrong or are we wrong? Okay, line was 9. It is down to 8.5. But they're massive favorites. Now, I think I'm going to be right here. Jacob, no, this is going to be for just the main slate. Let me grab all of the updated lines right now. I want to see if that Boston line moved more than I would expect. Oh, cool. All I did there was break everything. Did they add a column? That would be annoying. No, we're right. I'm right. All right, Boston's the number one stack. That might not be in the top stacks tool for Stochastic, but we'll get that corrected. I think we pulled the wrong line there because we only have Boston projected for 3.8 runs. They are projected for significantly more. Jacob, I believe it's 11. 12? Is it 12? Did I say 11? I think it's 12. I think it's 12. I forgot about that 7:05 game. Yeah, so 12 gamer, even better. I like the Red Sox more than any other team. They are mildly popular, I guess. The downside to the Red Sox is their top 5 guys. Outfield third, outfield, outfield, outfield. That is not the most appealing stacking structure. But at the same time, Davis Martin's on the opposite side. Not anybody we're worried about. 70-30 win rate for the Red Sox here. And outside of Duran and Devers, everybody's relatively cheap. Devers getting a third baseman's fine. Lefty power is way better than righty power in Boston. Davis Martin's a righty, and he's Davis Martin. I fully expect Boston to be my team. Now, there are a couple other teams that are pulling more ownership than the Boston Red Sox right now. And that's sort of what makes me think that I am going to have an infinite amount of the Boston Red Sox. Oh, yeah. Maybe it would help if I actually ran my sim instead of just sitting here and staring at it. Muhammad says Padres. We'll get there. But as I look at it, to me, if this ownership is going to hold, and I think Boston probably comes up a hair, I want all of Boston. To me, this is the best spot you're going to get. Now, what's the weather in Boston today? I have a sneaky suspicion we're going to look at it and it's going to be like 50 at first pitch. 69. It's not even bad. Yeah. It's Boston season today, baby. Best guys that you can get to are definitely Duran and Devers, but you're going to pay out the ass for it. My number 2 stack is either the Phillies or the Dodgers. They're both at 8% top stack. So I'm just going to work my way down time-wise. All right, guys, be nice. You guys be nice. I'll take the shots. All right, Phillies. Okay, so I have the Phillies second. They're fourth on the site, but we're talking about around 8% chance of being the top stack. Edward Cabrera on the hill for the Marlins. We know what we're getting there. It is a roller coaster ride of emotions if you're rostering Philly, because Edward Cabrera is going to strike you out. Aggressive stuff. However, a little prone to some problems and some long balls. So far this season, he's thrown 700 pitches to lefties, 699 if you want to be really technical. He has given up a 217x ISO and a 376x WOBA, which is basically like if the whole lineup hit like Kyle Schwarber. Phillies look great. Now, they're fourth in ownership, but the highest owned Philly is Bryce Harper at 9%. This is what we're getting today. If you have a team that you like a lot, they're probably not that owned. No one has more than 7% aggregate ownership. So, like, if you can get to the Phillies, now the park is obviously not ideal. That is at least a little bit of a problem. But even still, lefty power is better than righty power in Miami. And if you're going to the Phillies today against Edward Cabrera, you want the lefties. You want Schwarber. You want Harper. You want Stott. You want Marsh. And then if you have another righty, if it's Turner, if it's Bohm or Castellani, like, you're not mad. Real Muto, if you want to get a catcher. Philly seems like the easiest team to get to. Outfield short, first, third, outfield in the first 5. Sign me up for some Phillies. And then we look at the Dodgers. Now, the Dodgers are the team that we have number 1 at Stochastic. I have them third. But again, we're talking somewhere in that like 8 to 10% top stack range. So much flexibility on the Dodgers. 4 dudes in the lineup with an MPE. Ohtani's got first in outfield. Tommy Edmonds got short in outfield. Kike has first and third. Chris Taylor has second and third. Now, obviously, you're paying out the ass for Ohtani and Betts, but they're Ohtani and Betts. They're second in ownership at 7%. You only get Ohtani to 10%. Now you're in a park that's fantastic. Matt Boyd is a question mark, I would say. Probably. But 90 degrees at first pitch is certainly appealing. Boyd's been solid since he's been back. But they are running up against, probably the best offense today. It's either them or probably the Astros. But the idea of getting to the Dodgers, you're going to pay a little bit more at the top, but that doesn't seem problematic. This is so different than what we've been seeing when we've had these like, oh, this team's 18% to be the top stack because they're in. I mean, the Braves for the past couple days, like, it's just, we've been inundated with them facing Colorado, at least on the pitching side. On the hitting side, though, lots of options. I like the Guardians as well, a lot more than we do. I think they look incredible today against Landon Knack. One, it's Landon Knack. I don't care about him at all. I bet his under in strikeouts. So there's also that. The park plays up power in a big way. We know the Guardians don't strike out all that often. So if you're not striking out in Dodger Stadium, you're putting the bat on the ball. And if you're putting the bat on the ball in Dodger Stadium, you're going to get a lot of home runs from time to time. So I'm looking at the Guardians here as probably my most under-owned team on the slate. There's so much power potential. You go second, third, and first in the 2, 3, 4 spots for 3,900, 6,400 for Jose Ramirez, which we know we're okay with, and then 4,500 for Josh Naylor. If you don't want Naylor, you can spend 2,700 on Kyle Manzardo. Knock off first again. If you want to go to Bo Naylor and try to buy a cheap home run at catcher, he's 2,900. I think the Guardians are going to be really, really, really easy to build, and it doesn't appear that the ownership is following. 8% to Jose Ramirez is the high mark. And then finally, the only other team that I have at 7% top stack odds is the Astros. We have them fourth. I have them fifth. They're right at like 7% top stack odds. Yordan Alvarez is the guy you want to get to more than anything else here. That should not be all that surprising. Yordan Alvarez is really, really good. Brandon Pfaadt probably gives up a little bit more to lefties, certainly doesn't strike them out. And since Yordan Alvarez doesn't strike out, 15% K rate for Yordan Alvarez against righties with this pitch mix, and an 18% K rate for Brandon Pfaadt this year against lefties. Yordan Alvarez is ripe to put a ball in the cheap seats, and 124 park factor for lefty power. There's not a safer bet for a home run today, ignoring odds, than Yordan Alvarez. But again, you get Altuve as a second baseman. You get Diaz as a catcher. You get Bregman at third. So very naturally easy team to stack at the top. Salary doesn't seem like it's going to matter all that much. This is another team that I'm very happy to get to. As I look at my top stack odds in relationship to ownership, I'm expecting Red Sox, Astros, and Guardians to be, primary options for me. I could see the Rays sneaking in a little bit because their top stack odds are average, but they've got a little ownership going to their opposing pitcher. Like the A's, I don't expect to get much of. The Giants, I don't expect to get much of. The Marlins, I don't expect to get much of. They are facing the most owned pitchers, and usually I get like one of them. We're going to see. I'm thinking my sim just finished. It did. So let me grab my top lineups for right now. And let's see where I'm actually at. So there we go. Sim is done. I'm going to grab my top 50 lineups for tonight, and we're going to see what's actually showing up. Looks like I'm going to have a lot more Nick Pivetta than I was expecting, but I'm not mad about it. The win equity there is pretty massive. All right, here we go. Well, I was definitely wrong about one thing. My most exposed team right now is the White Sox. Now, I am also 2x the field on Nick Pivetta. And we're going to walk through this now that I'm getting to the White Sox. Stochastic has the White Sox 16th of 24 teams today in top stack. I have it worse than that, but this is the number one stack for value today. And it's what you can get outside of the White Sox stack and pitching that makes this appealing. Number one value from Stochastic, number one for me. They're 4.5% owned. Only Nicky Lopez is at 5% or higher. Pivetta is pulling enough ownership that I think it becomes interesting. Obviously, I get to the White Sox a little bit more than most people would ever want to get to the White Sox. But let's look at this spot for a second. Because Pivetta gives up power in a major way. Look at this right now. This is just this year. Now, does he get hit all over the park? No, not really. 275 xWOBA to lefties, 323 to righties is average. But a 195 x ISO to lefties, that's 1,000 pitches. A 208 x ISO to righties, that's 1,000 pitches. If you add in last year, we're still in that 190 to 200 range for x ISO. Pivetta gives up a lot of power. Now, Does this White Sox team have a lot of power? It doesn't. It really doesn't. I mean, honestly, there's not a single guy in this lineup that you would be like, this guy's a power hitter. But you get a little leverage against Pivetta. You're in a park that is better for lefty power, 100 park factor, so dead neutral to lefties, 87 to righties. So really big stand on second base shortstop, $2,700 Nicky Lopez. But on the road, extra plate appearances, potential, lefty-righty spot. That price tag across those positions, I'm not surprised that it's happening. I have a lot of Julks, a lot of Benintendi, Gavin Sheets. Do I like the idea of getting to the White Sox? Not especially. But a 12-game slate with the leverage that we can get and what it unlocks for pitching and lineup filler, okay, I can deal with that. Second most exposed team for me so far, the Angels. I've got it in as Gerson Garabito going for Texas. I don't know if that's changed. That's what Fangraphs had in earlier. If I find the Rangers, it is Gerson Garabito, whatever the hell that is. So probably why I don't mind the Angels all that much. No ownership coming into Garabito. I don't think anybody's surprised to hear that. And it's not like I have a massive stand. I mean, it's, 2x the field. But the most I have of anybody is 20% of a $3,600 Rendon. I think what we're seeing here is the ability to fill out your lineup heavily and pay up for pitching. Because that first team we looked at is the White Sox, and their top value odds are massive. The second team we're looking at here are the Angels. Fourth in top value on Stochastic. Third for me. It appears I'm just trying to find the cheapest places to go on a hitting side. And this is an Angel stack where, again, ignoring the players and just looking at positions, first five guys, outfield short, first, third outfield, that's balancing. And Logan O'Hoppe at 6 for catcher. Very easy to get to the Angels. Is it an exciting spot to get to? Of course not. But Park plays up righty power. Gerson Garabito is a made-up person. So, yeah, I'm more than okay with going to the Angels. And then I have 3 teams at 10%. The Astros, who we talked about. The Guardians, who we talked about. So I'm 2xing 2 of the teams that we earmarked as the teams that I think look the best. 20% of Yordan Alvarez and 20% of Kyle Tucker, lefty-righty against Brandon Pfaadt after everything we just talked about. Yeah, that's exactly what I want it to be. And then, the Guardians, as we mentioned, 20% of Andre Jimenez, a $3,900 second baseman. We don't get a ton of Jose Ramirez, which is fine. We get the Josh Naylor piece. We get the Bo Naylor piece for a cheap catcher. All told, I'm pretty happy with what came out of here. I'm annoyed that I didn't get Boston. I'm not shocked that it didn't happen because I don't think they're imminently stackable. I would really like to have more, the problem is they're priced up at the top and you're getting a lot of outfield options. But as I see it right now, oh boy, these teams are weird today. That's going to be the White Sox and the Angels. And then the teams that we expected, Astros and Guardians. And if we take a quick look at the Royals, because that's another team that I'm 2xing. Zebby Matthews on the hill for the Twins. Not really anybody you're worried about, although he does limit power to righties. Lefty power does die in KC. But there's no big stand here. It's 20% of Bobby Witt. Yeah, I'm in. Especially if I'm paying down so much for the White Sox and paying down so much for the Angels. Yeah, I'm probably filling in with $6,600 Bobby Witt at short. But if you can get Tommy Pham, who I believe I bet earlier this morning, Salvador Perez, MJ Melendez, these guys aren't getting any ownership. Riley Green hits a home run today. Okay. Not a crazy stance to take. Just quickly looking at the top overall hitters for today. The number one hitting option on the slate to me, is Rafael Devers. Duran second, Alvarez third, Bobby Witt fourth, Adolis Garcia fifth. That's ignoring salary. Or sorry, that is including salary. Ignoring salary, Devers, Duran, Witt, Alvarez, Ohtani. I think all of that makes a ton of sense to anybody that hears it. If you're looking for leverage, most under-owned plays, Jarren Duran, Rafael Devers, Kyle Tucker, Carlos Santana, who I definitely bet to homer today, and Josh Naylor. Worst leverage plays. Doesn't mean you shouldn't play them, just that they're over-owned. Looks like we're going to Philly here. JT Realmuto, Bryson Stott, Brandon Marsh. Top 3 plays that I think are over-owned are coming from Philadelphia. I assume that's leading me to Philly getting ownership, but not getting any love from me. Looks like we're going to want to bet more on the Edward Cabrera strikeouts. So that's what the hitting side of this looks like. Is there a team you want me to look at? Mohammed, I know you mentioned the Padres earlier. I mean, great run total spot today. Park is certainly fine. Mason Black for the Giants is not somebody you're worried about. But, Stochastic has them 4% top stack. I have it at 4.7. They're really expensive. Lots of 5K, 4K guys. So they're around 20th in top value. No issue getting to San Diego. Don't think they're the most affordable. Humboldt, there we go, baby. Humboldt took first in the 5K Minimax last night. Let's put that up on the screen so people can see it. Love it. Absolutely love to see it. All right, time to find out what we have for pitching. I saw a couple of them, but this is the pitching exposure for me. And it lines up with everything we just saw for hitting. If I'm going to be paying down for the Angels and paying down for the White Sox, then I'm 2Xing Tariq Skubal at the top. I'm 2Xing Michael King at the top. I'm neutral on Zach Wheeler. Those are the 3 most expensive guys. 10-2, 10K, 9,800. I have 122%. We're projecting 73. So I'm close to 2Xing the aggregate of the 3 most expensive pitchers. And then I'm taking that big Nick Pivetta stand because he's such a boom bust guy where it's either awful and things go right for us and the White Sox hit a bunch of homers, or the ball stays in the yard, the White Sox stink. But when the ball stays in the yard, Nick Pivetta is going to strike out a shit ton of these dudes. So right there, those 4 guys alone are 154% of my exposure. That's 75% of everything I have at pitching in Skubal, Wheeler, King, and Pivetta. Little bits of Manaea, little bits of Dean Kramer, scattered dudes filling out the rest of this. But those are the main 4 guys. And if we're going to get technical, the main 3 guys in Pivetta, King, and Skubal. Now, just to walk through why those guys are showing up, this shouldn't be all that surprising. If we want to go to Skubal first, this game is in Oakland. Park limits power in a big way. Because Skubal's on the hill against Mitch Spence, the Tigers are actually 60-40 to win here. The implied total for the A's is 3.2. It's the second lowest on the slate. I've got Tariq Skubal projected for north of 7 strikeouts, going 6 innings. Unequivocally the number 1 option for you today. He's 30% owned. He's in 54% of my stuff. I am taking a big stand on Tariq Skubal. Now, if we want to talk about Michael King, what number is that? 14. There we go. Michael King, 3.5 run implied total for the Giants. Giants offense strikes out a bunch. King, I have at 7.8 strikeouts. I believe that's higher than the market is. The Giants' top stack odds are really low. They have some pop. That's a little scary, but it's not really concerning to me based on that implied total. So as I look at Skubal and King, I think it's pretty clear they're the top 2 options. We talked about the boom bust potential of Pivetta, 8,600, but this is a guy that is probably like 3rd or 4th to be tops and strikeouts for today. It's the White Sox. They have basically no talent. I have them projected with a sub 300 WOBA for today. That's the only team on the slate that has that awful of a projection. Park limits righty power. So I love getting to Pivetta. Just so happens I have the White Sox as well. And then finally, Zach Wheeler, not a lot to say here. Really low implied total for the Reds. Park really works, limits lefty power, limits runs to a degree. I don't know why I went to the Mets. I do this every time. Zach Wheeler taking on the Marlins. Dog shit Marlins team. I put Zach Wheeler on the Mets in my head every single time that dude plays. Philly, 3.1 run implied total for the Marlins. That is the lowest implied total on today's slate, coming in below the Oakland A's. Now, Wheeler's strikeout stuff has been kind of weird this year, but this 10K price tag in Miami in a park that gives up no power, yeah, those three guys are so clearly, to me, the top pitchers. Do you guys like anybody other than Skubal, King, or Nick Pivetta? Let's ignore Manaea and Wheeler for this particular moment. Are you guys trying to get different everywhere? Because I think everything at the bottom of pitching outside of Dean Kramer is really bad and essentially unrosterable. So what are you guys looking at? That's what I want to know. Fede. Okay. So I only got him in one lineup. He's 7% owned. I think he's over-owned a little bit. But let's look at it. So, interesting spot against the Mariners for sure. If we're talking about the Mariners' active roster against righties, we're talking about the number one strikeout team on the year. 27% K rate against righties. Probably causing me to disrespect Eric Fede a little bit because I don't have them projected like that. That just happens to be how they've played. They also walk about as much as everybody else, so they're just kind of seeing a lot of pitches. 103 WRC plus, though. I think at 7,700, he's just like a couple $100 too expensive. But the matchup itself looks really good here for Eric Fede. The Mariners are just not the same team on the road. So I don't hate it, but it doesn't jump off the page for me. He's just like a 5% guy. You guys want to build some lineups? The single lineup czar is about to build one out. Reminder, you guys can sign up for these tools by clicking the links in the description of the video. Or if you really want to make it easy on yourself and the NFL is something that you're looking for, this is what you want, guys. This is what you want. NFL is here. First game was yesterday. Doesn't mean you can't get in for this one. Light and core packages at Stochastic for week one in the NFL are $1. One single buck. Cancel at any time during that if you need to. You're only going to be out $1. Worst case scenario is you're out $1. Best case scenario, I think you're going to hang around for a little bit. You get the pre-contest sim, the contest generator, all of the projections and ownerships and top stack stuff that we have across the board for data. The single lineup simulator, which we're going to use right now for the MLB side. You'll also get it for the NFL. And it's not just main slates. Showdown tonight. All of the games that are going on Sunday. Monday Night Football, 2 games, double showdowns, probably a really nice 2-game slate as well. You're covered for all of it. And if you get in today, you're going to be in for Thursday Night Football next week as well. There's no reason that you should skip out on this for $1. If you've ever wanted to test out the tools that we have at Stochastic, if you're an NFL fan, $1 is the perfect introduction for you. Find out what you like. I personally think you're going to love the single lineup simulator more than anything that we've ever put out over the past 6 years that I've been here. 6.5 years now. It's the best tool we've ever made. I used it last night to build a lineup, myself and my wife, for last night's NFL game. It was awesome. ROI came out really nice. Didn't work out for us because we put Travis Kelce in the captain spot. She has Kelsey on her fantasy team. So we wanted some synergy, something to cheer for. But we did have Worthy. We had our boy Mahomes. Justin Tucker it would have been a lot cooler if he made that 50-yard field goal. But all of this can be done by signing up, clicking the link in the description of this video, or use the promo code KICKOFF. Again, light and core subscriptions for you guys. Now, we're going to build some lineups. Now, the first thing we're going to do is get our context. I'm going to sim a 5,000 lineup pool and get an idea of what our goal is. And then I want to build a Guardians lineup to start, because I think that's my favorite team relative to salary. I'm going to ignore the teams that I see so I don't get any ideas. We just want the context. That way we know whatever we pull up in the single lineup tool, we know how it grades out. So we're going to sim this first, then get into the single lineup tool. Lou Bob playing baseball today? Don't know. Hopefully. But I don't know. We'll find out when they drop that lineup. Oh, by the way, schedule for the rest of the day while this runs. We don't want to miss that. So, showdown strategy for tonight. That aired before this from 9 to 10. I've got this one at 10. We had to move stuff around. We didn't want Lofty to have to do back-to-back showdown shows, because at 11 a.m., Lofty and Greg are doing a Sims tournament strategy show. So you don't want to miss that. Greg and Bellman will be back tonight for MLB Live Before Lock. And then Eric and Gajeski will be back at 7:30 tonight for NFL Live Before Lock. So we got tons of content coming out, not to mention all of the short form content that exists at Stochastic and at Odd Shopper. So make sure you're following both of those YouTube channels. We have new videos and new live shows every single day. You do not want to miss it. So let's get this sim done. The moment it's done, I'm going to just look to the left on that main column, find out what the top is, and then get the hell away from this, because I don't want to read into what the lineups are. So try not to cheat. The moment that pops up, we're getting out of there. We just need to see what we're shooting for in sim ROI. Now, you don't have to do this, but I want my context right now. So we're finishing off this sim of 5,000 lineups. This will give us a great idea of where the upper bounds of value exist on this slate. Ooh, I'm getting hungry, and I am further away from eating than I want to be, because I've got Odd Shopper Live coming up at noon today on the Odd Shopper channel. We crushed the promos yesterday that were available at the sports books. Hit a 4-leg same game parlay, 0 risk, 10x our money there. We hit all right, we're looking for high 90s and into the hundreds. That's what we're looking for. So anything north of 50, we're going to call it a win. But yeah, we hit a 50% profit boost 3-leg same game parlay last night as well. All of those boosts were so massive and so easy to grab. But now, let's build out some baseball. We're going large contest. We're going 25% to first. And now we are building out the Cleveland Guardians, because I think that's where we should start. Guardians. If we want the best version of the Cleveland Guardians tonight, we're going to grab Kyle Manzardo. We're going to get Bo Naylor in at catcher. We're going to get Andre Jimenez. We're going to get Jose Ramirez. And I think we're going to go Steven Kwan. So that's catcher, first, second, third, outfield. This is going to be how we end up with Bobby Witt, by the way, if you guys see this. Now, if we're going to go pitching, I'm going to go to the two guys. I'm going to try to save a little salary first, and then maybe we could pay up for King. but I'm going to go to Skubal, and I'm going to go to Pavetta. Now, we might go to King if we have a ton of salary left over, but we have 10,500 for these final 3 spots. Short, outfield, 3,500 each. Stochastic has the best value, the highest projected shortstop as Gunnar Henderson, a little over 11 fantasy points. The best value option is Ryan Kreidler at 5.5. So I want to try to find like the best of both worlds here. We can go to Tommy Edman at short, which could unlock the Dodgers for a game stack. So if we get Edman in at short, can we get Dodgers outfield bats? We would have to go Teoscar and... No, we're not going to be able to do that. Yeah, we can't pull that off that way. So we're going to pull Edman, go back to short. And then we can't go to Nicky Lopez. All right, let's take a look at Jeremy Pena. Chas McCormick. Let's take McCormick out. Let's see if we can go Houston. Pena. McCormick gives us 4,200. We're going to look at 4-2-1 right now, or 5-2-1. I'm not loving this construction, if I'm being honest. I'm going to add Michael Harris since he's the highest projected guy. This is going to be positive, but I don't love the final 3 of Pena, McCormick, Harris. There's something else there. Yeah, Bug Boy, I'm not going to you for tips. Okay, 26%. We can do a lot better than what we have here. And I think instead of grabbing that shortstop first, what I really want to do is find the best options in the outfield, which may be 4K Michael Harris and $3,400 Ramon Laureano. Now, it doesn't allow us to get an Atlanta shortstop, but a $3,100 shortstop can get filled here by no one good. All right, shortstop sucks. Shortstop really sucks. I'm going to take Ryan Kreidler just because he's there. We're going to run this one now. We might have to reevaluate and take a look at Cleveland in a different way. Maybe we try to swap out one of these guys for Brian Rocchio. Yeah, we're at 26 again. That's what we're going to do. We got a couple more minutes to try to flesh this one out. I'm actually going to pull Quan. And then... Oh, I have Rocchio in, but we don't. We have Daniel Schneemann. Let's just see what happens if we go Schneemann, and then we have 4,100 for any outfielders. Maybe now we can go Harris and Soler and Laureano? 5-3 with Atlanta? I think we're just going to be sitting in that 20 or 30 range again. Maybe that's the best that we can squeeze out of Cleveland. Yeah, 19. All right, give me a team, guys. Let's build one that I don't have right now. Whoever you want to see, let's build the best version of it. We got some in the 30s. You guys name the team. Final team we're going to do before we get out of here and turn this one back over to the NFL guys. I'll build whoever you guys want. I might take the first answer. If there's a couple answers and we double up. Braden says 4-man Astros. I don't have any problem going to the Astros. I'm 2xing the field already on them. Angels, Kansas City. All right, Bug Boy at least had the Houston piece. So we did get 2 answers of Houston. Let's look at the Astros. So it should come as no surprise who we're starting with here. Yordan Alvarez, come on down. I'm going to get Singleton just because he's cheap. By all accounts, we're going to need to get Jose Altuve. We'll get Diaz because it's always nice to grab a catcher. And then honestly, it probably should be Kyle Tucker, but he's expensive. We can save money if we want to and go to Ben Gamel. Actually, we don't have Tucker in the lineup, so that's perfect. Ben Gamel provides good value. Chas McCormick provides even better value. So I'm going to grab McCormick. Now, pitching. We could try to do this one a little bit differently. If we want to even save some more money, I think we can. Let's go Michael King. And I'm going to save a little bit of salary here and go to the pay down option getting the most ownership, which is Dean Kramer. That leaves us $4,400 for a shortstop. Why do I have Jose Miranda in there? I don't know why I did that. We have $4,200 for a third baseman, a shortstop, and an outfield. Now, this could get us back to Cleveland, potentially, and get us into Jose Ramirez. Because we have a lot to spend here. Yeah, we can go Royce Lewis. We can look at San Diego or Baltimore and bring them along for the 3-man. Yeah, what is that going to look like if we want to go to Baltimore? Can we go Kobe Mayo, Gunnar Henderson? Is there really not an available outfielder for them under 3,800? Is that true? Nope, that is true. All right, we're going to bail on Baltimore because I want the full 3-man to start. All right, so if we don't want to go Baltimore, all right, I'm going to look San Diego then, considering we have Michael King. So that would be Machado, Mason McCoy, and Jurickson Profar. Okay. I'm not going to lie, I kind of like this. It might be too low of a projection, but there's no ownership on this lineup whatsoever. All right, 41. We're gaining on it. And I don't think that's a very good San Diego lineup. Like, if we want to go Machado Profar, we could open up short. And instead of going Mason McCoy for 4.87 points, we don't have a tie to Pivetta now. We can get a leadoff Nicky Lopez and gain 2 fantasy points to this lineup. Now, I fully expect this to look better because we only bumped up ownership by like 3 or 4%, but we gained 2 full fantasy points. Wow, 33.5. I did not expect that. Who did I just take out of there from Houston? What Houston outfielder did I just pull from that? McCormick? Must have been. I don't want to do this, but I feel like I have to. If I put Nicky Lopez in at short, Lennon Sosa in at third, and Lubob into the outfield, That leaves me a staggering amount of money. Unfortunately, the best guy that I can get to if I do unlock that is from... No, it's not. It's Max Fried, actually. So let's test that out. 5-man Houston, 3-man White Sox, King and Fried. That's what we're going out on, baby. 60.5. We allocated our money wisely. We actually still have 1,000 left. We can probably make this better. So if we pull Singleton, we could add Andrew Vaughn and go 4-4. And we're going to gain another fantasy point at a very minimal ownership increase. I think this is going to get even better. Switching 5-3 to 4-4. But we're not changing our ownership, and we're gaining another point. That's how you use this tool, baby. 81. I'm telling you, man. The single lineup czar sits before you guys on the screen. It's all a giant math problem. You want to figure out where that projection line is of what you're trying to get to, and then you can figure out how to give some back and gain some elsewhere. And that's exactly what we just did here. 81% on this Astros White Sox lineup. And we were able to pay up. We got out of a low-level Dean Kramer and got all the way up to an $8,800 Max Fried. Doesn't get any better than that, folks. Now, there's no real other way that we can change that up. In theory, we could go to Mania. And then, can we upgrade Chas McCormick to a better Houston outfielder? No. Can we upgrade Chas McCormick to a better White Sox outfielder? I doubt it considerably. No. So McCormick stays. I'm going to try to make one tweak to this. Maybe Sosa at third? No. Altuve is not going to be that guy. McCormick's not that guy. Nicky Lopez is, I don't think, going to be that guy. No. It would have had to be Perdomo. Just out of curiosity. What does making this a 4-3-1 do? I assume this goes down. I mean, technically, Perdomo is a better on-paper play than what we had in there. But at the same time, you're losing some of the correlation. Yeah, that's what I expected it to do. So that's got to stay at Nicky Lopez. I guess it could be Diaz. He's going to have the highest projection for sure. And otherwise, you're dropping down to Connor Wong or Chucky Robinson. So yeah, I think this structure is the best that we could really hope for. We can't unlock Andrew Vaughn with somebody else, can we? No. It would have to be getting... Yeah, it's the pitching that changes it. But we know what we got here, folks. I'll click run one last time. NFL show Sims tournament strategy coming up immediately after me ending this one. 11 a.m. Eastern time. You're going to get Laffy and you're going to get Greg building out tournament lineups for you guys. Unfortunately, I'm not on that show to be the single lineup czar of the NFL community. But I am, in fact, the greatest single lineup simulator builder on the MLB side that the world has ever known. If you want to see me do this again, you got to wait patiently until Monday when we are back for the MLB strategy show. Thank you guys for being here. This was fun, as it always is. And go White Sox tonight.